Jordan Ward is an exciting emerging artist who has gained co-signs from Tyler the Creator and SZA. His charismatic blend of pop and R&B is pushing the boundaries of mainstream music. Most of Jordan Ward's songs are produced by the amazing Lido, and today I'm going to break down the techniques that he uses across Jordan's discography, starting with my favourite track, Little Baby Crush.
She look like 90s R&B. Her friends like SWV.
To recreate the chords, I used the DX7, layered with the Juno-60 for a subtle fuzzy texture. I also recreated the very high guitar that could even be like a ukulele, bass from the Contact Rickenbacker, and recreated the drums using some one-shots from my Sonic Texture sample pack, and got pretty close to the original song.
Really, I'm your secret biggest fan and staying friend. We kick shit with everyone. I need some more intimate. You got all the taste for thugging types you get so in. Well, I'm thugging to the beach. Baby, join me if you can.
Notice that Jordan's vocals are a higher pitch, almost like a chipmunk style vocal. If we drop the pitch by one semitone, we can hear his natural voice.
Took the weave out and left it short. Took the weave out and left it short.
There are a few ways this could be done. Maybe the instrumental is made pitched down and then Jordan sings on it and they pitch it up. Or maybe they make the whole track, including the instruments and Jordan's vocals, and then pitch it up. Lido has said that he uses this on some of his own songs to make it sound like a sample. But for Jordan's music, I have a feeling the melodic elements are made, Jordan records his vocals, and then they pitch it up and then they add the drums. Either way, this is a cool idea and you should experiment with all these variations. During editing, I realised that it's actually pronounced Lido. Sorry, broski. I also like how the background vocals are processed. They have this doo-wop barbershop quartet vinyl record playing on a gramophone vibe. I achieved this by filtering the low end and high end for that muffled gramophone sound, and added loads of vinyl crackle and room reverb to make it sound like you're listening to the record in your living room.
Join me if you can. Can.
And this is the vocal stack that I used, which is a good starting point. Lil Baby Crush and Fam Jam 4000 are very similar songs.
You watched me grow up from a boy. I watched you build from what's destroyed. Rehabbing.
They both have pitched up vocals and similar synth sounds. For Fam Jam, Lido definitely uses the DX7, as seen during this performance. I used the FM8 wide synth brass preset and adjusted the attack and brightness. To understand Lido's synth sound, we need to understand the DX7. The DX7 is the first commercially accessible FM synth. In terms of plug-in replicas, Native Instruments is probably the most famous with FM7, which got upgraded to FM8, which is what I used. Dext is a free DX7 replica, which is also worth checking out. Lido is also known for using the Juno-60, but as I said before, I only used it for a subtle layer in Lil Baby Crush, and the DX7 did 90% of the work, whereas Fam Jam is exclusively DX7. The other notable element is in the intro. They use the sound of a needle dropping on the vinyl record to set the tone and give it a throwback vibe. I would call this using mechanical texture as a narrative device, similar to the radio and tape deck sounds on Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. I have a needle drop in my Sonic Texture sample pack that sounds quite similar to the one on Jordan's song. I EQ'd it a bit, added some more vinyl crackle and subtle tape hiss, which completed the vintage aesthetic.
You watched me grow up from a boy. I watched you build from what's destroyed. Rehabbing houses. You watched me grow up from a boy. I watched you build from what's destroyed. Rehabbing houses.
Next, I want to talk about Cherimoya and Mustard. These songs are similar because of their arpeggiated guitar progressions. But if you listen closely, you can hear that there's a bit of manipulation going on. I wanted to try different methods to achieve this sound, so I got my friend Cook up to record the guitar for Cherimoya. I then experimented with using the same guitar, 12 semitones up, and blended it in on top of the original for that glitchy sound. One of the most important things about this track is how noisy it is. It sounds like a performance happening on the side of the street with life moving all around it. This is atmosphere texture and is used a lot in Jordan's music. I added my own atmosphere recordings from my Sonic Texture sample pack to help fatten it up. The other main points for Cherimoya is the Fender Rhodes sounding electric piano, vocal chop with delay, and extremely subtle percussion in the background, which I also recreated using perk one shots from my pack. And all together it sounds like this.
Cherimoya, I've been waiting all season for you. Cherimoya, I've been waiting all season for you. Haven't seen nothing like you before.
Mustard has the same idea of an arpeggiated guitar.
Oh yeah.
But this time I asked my bro Cook up to record slower and lower in pitch. so that I could pitch it up and speed it up, accompanied with the octave guitar technique again and some mechanical texture.
Every year more energy. There's every year more energy. There's
And what I really like is the use of atmosphere texture as a narrative device. The lyrics talk about kids jumping off the senior stands, so in the outro they use atmosphere recordings of kids playing to paint the picture. It's like a callback from the chorus to the outro, which of course I think is really cool. Texture is my one true love, and I'll be talking about it forever. The next track is I Don't Care, and has some really important lessons to learn from its production. It sounds like this.
down and say goodbye. Keep on my hands sanitized. I'm getting money, state of mind.
And samples this Turkish artist from the 70s. Jordan's version is sped up from 104 to 120 BPM, but the real fun comes with the processing. I managed to recreate it almost perfectly using OTT multiband compression, saturation, and normal compression.
Down and say goodbye. Keep on my hands sanitized. I'm getting money, state of mind. Every day I'm taking flights in my camera.
This is really important for a couple of reasons. It pumps up the sample, but also gives an umbrella of processing so that any instruments added will sound cohesive, which is perfectly demonstrated in the transition from the sample to the synth outro. It feels seamless because of the shared processing. Kanye's Bound 2 is an amazing example of this technique at its best. Che Pope, who worked on the song, has said that they added loads of processing to the Ponderosa Twins Bound sample to give it warmth, and used the same processing to transition from the Bound sample to the synth section with Charlie Wilson's vocals. Listen to both of these songs and you'll appreciate how powerful this technique can be. Last but not least, white Crocs.
Just open on my phone and it said it needs space. So I hop on a 405 and on speed racing. I just switched to only OGs.
The first is the drums. They sound like a classic sounding 808 kit. This sound reminds me a lot of Pharrell's production style, such as Wasting Time by Brent Faiyaz. So for me, it's like a Lido track mixed with Pharrell influences. I just loaded up some standard 808 sounds from Ableton and programmed the same pattern. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to get a similar sound without knowing exactly what drum samples they used. One really cool but subtle technique in this song is the use of a constant root note one shot. It sounds like an ambiguous mix of a string, pad, synth, vocal, all of the above. I recreated it by layering a string and a synth one shot from my pack and Arturia's Augmented Voices plugin. This is a great technique for filling out a beat. Maybe the most important factor in white Crocs is the use of portamento/glide. You can hear a melody move from note to note and then hold. To demonstrate how easy this is, I used a simple sine wave based preset, increased the attack, and turned on the glide function. However, the synth used sounds like a vocal synth, which Ableton has some decent presets, so I did the same thing of turning on the glide/portamento and layered them together, creating a similar sound.
Just let it play, Lido. Hey.
Finally, this doesn't mean copy Jordan and Lido. Take some inspiration from the techniques they use, combine them with your own creative flair, and make something new and exciting. As I showed in the video, my Sonic Texture sample pack has atmosphere textures, mechanical textures, drums, perks, melodic one-shots, etc. A lot of which fall into this style of production, and checking it out helps support the channel. Also, big shout out to Cook Up for the help on this one. Check out him and the gang over at AN Sounds. They're doing some really cool stuff. Subscribe if you're handsome. Thanks for watching.